Welcome back to the channel. So hyphens actually do matter. Now, let's just go take a look. And this is sort of going to be a potentially a long topic because hyphens happen to be a big part of the actual nomenclature of the MPC, especially when it comes to category and duplicating sounds and so forth. So let's just go take a look. We're gonna go into browse mode now. Like I said, these topics kind of go deep. It's incredible. So we're gonna go into actual sounds mode. Now on the MPC keys, there's a dedicated button for sounds, and then of course, when you look at programs, when it comes to plugins, you can see the sounds screen button directly on the screen. Now, unfortunately, in this mode and in this mode, you're not going to see that sounds. So it'd be really nice if Akai would put that in future updates, but we'll see what happens on that. So for now, we're just going to put this shortcut of sounds right here. Okay, so now what you're looking at is an expansion inside the MPC of key groups. And you're going to see the names of the sounds, but you're going to see that it looks like that some of them are actually missing, like here and here and here. And the reason, one of the reasons, or the reason, like I said, hyphens are sort of a very ambiguous topic, so this is kind of a geekery video in this case. So what we're going to do is we're going to go open up, and I'm going to show you sort of both screens in the background, the actual expansion that I programmed. And what I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at the actual files. And I'm more interested in not the sample names, but the files with the extensions of XPM, SQ, SXQ, and XPM.wav or wav.xpm. Okay. Maybe I said that in reverse, but so I'm going to go look deep into here. Let's see if I can focus it on here. So I'm going to go into this actual Summit folder. And then we're going to get into the hyphens and what they're used for and how they're generated and when you should use them and when you shouldn't use them. So I'm going to first go into here. This is going to be the Summit. So let's go pop this guy in here. So there's going to be a lot of sounds in here. I'm going to go to the previews folder first, and I'm going to look at every single preview in here that has an actual hyphen either at the very end of the name of a patch or in between, that may have been placed in between two names. So in this case, I'm just going to go in there and make sure and take it out. Okay. There's another one here. Synth lead. Then there's a hyphen. And we'll get into the actual deeper into what the hyphen is about and how it gets created. So we're going to simply take those out of the previews, and then we're going to concentrate on the next two file extensions, as I said earlier in the video. Okay, so looks like I got everything here. Now we're going to go and we're going to look at the sequence file, which I'm going to see if I can put this in the right category. We'll put this in the kind so we can get it all together. So we're going to go look at first the program file. So here, hot chocolate with the hyphen at the end. And we're going to look simultaneously at this right here. So you're going to start seeing some of the names repopulate. The screen's starting to go populate the sound as I start removing the hyphen. So you can see it populating back. So, all right. One or two more. So this is for all y'all programmers out there. Okay. All right. So I just have one group of files, and you have to have them all match, or the browser will not properly work with the previews. So if you're out there building your own expansions. I'm going to change this guy. And you can see them all populating. So it looks like there's one that I missed potentially. No problem. So it starts with an M. So it's 1983 with a slash behind it. So I take the hyphen, SMT 1983. It should populate. Bang, right there. So now next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into the actual browser of this. And we'll go into the Summit. And we're going to just make sure all the preview files play. If they don't, that means one of your sequence files or your program file or your actual preview audio file does not match. Okay, fantastic. So when I go back into sounds menu, we can see that they're all populated as they should be. Okay. Now it's pretty interesting because there's different ways of loading sounds into your project, and then assigning sounds, which I don't know if I'll get into today. So let's just find out what the hyphen actually is. So the hyphen in the MPC software, predominantly desktop, but also standalone, is. So let's just talk about what the hyphen's for when it comes to the desktop software. So in the desktop software, they use a category search where you have like genre and style of sound, so category of sound, and of course the patch name. And you can have, I think, up to 3 separators in there. I think it's up to 3. So imagine this: soul, acoustic, piano, or jazz, electric, Rhodes. And those are 4 different separators that you can use to hunt and find sounds within your database. Well, in the manual, it's not quite clear exactly what categories are defined within the database. So you have to do a little bit of experimenting, at least from what I could tell in the manual. So I've already played around with this and got some mixed results. Either way, whether you try to use that, it's not a Boolean search, but it's kind of like a Boolean search. If you decide to use that system, play around with it. Make sure that it's something that you can understand, and then you have to kind of commit to it as you're starting to build your library. And so I chose not to use it because I think it's got some issues on it. So that's the way I did it. So that feature only works in the MPC software. So that's the number one reason why I didn't choose to commit to that when I build my expansions. That part does not translate into MPC standalone. So that's for the first thing first. So where does that hyphen actually come from? So typically, if you're going to use and create patches in here, let's just say you auto sample something, and you name it Denver Roads, for example, and you sample it, and then all of a sudden you create a patch out of it, and then you say, I can sample that a little bit better. So you resample something and you name it the same thing, like Denver Roads again. It's going to automatically create a hyphen behind it because it's just a way it automatically, the Kai is able to make that distinction between the first version and second version. They couldn't have chose a worse auto-populating naming system. They could have put '1, '2, but they had to use the hyphen. So let's just look at another example of how you can create another hyphen on accident. So let's say let me load a sound. I'll load mixed bag. Okay, it's a drum kit. So let's say I'm in here. Let's say I decide to use this great feature called duplicate the track, or duplicate just in general. See if I can do it by doing this. See that hyphen right there that I've just created to make that distinction between the original mixed bag and then the alias or the duplicate? So what you have to make sure, because if you keep that name and you write it back to the expansion, it's not going to show properly in the actual browser when it comes to searching by sound. Remember this menu here that I showed? So just be careful. If you're gonna save it back into an expansion, make sure you name it. So we'll say mixed bag B or mixed bag V2. But get that hyphen out of there, because it will screw things up. It'll start to automatically try to place it in a genre, then a category. Okay? So that's hyphen, and it does actually can make a big difference. And so I'll just go back and double check all these, and then I'm going to rewrite these expansions. And when you rewrite your expansion, especially if you're interested in updating over an existing one, make sure you keep everything, the XML metadata, the same, with the exception of the version. And usually I use like a 5.1, 5.2, whatever. And that's pretty much it. So until next time, peace out.